You're my constant in the chaos. You're my compass when the road is long. You're my portion, never failing. For me, only Jesus. Let my heart want for nothing but you, just you. Let my heart want for nothing but you, just you. The riches of this world could never satisfy. Let my heart want for only you. You're my center, should I wander. You're my future, and you redeem my past. Every moment, and then forever. For me, only Jesus. For me, only Jesus. Let my heart want for nothing but you, just you. Let my heart want for nothing but you, just you. The riches of this world could never satisfy. Let my heart want for only you. Oh Jesus, let my heart want for only you. For me, only Jesus. For me, only Jesus. For me, only Jesus. For me, only Jesus.
So let's call this meeting to order. I am so excited. Oh my goodness, our church, Aldersgate.
2 hours later.
Oh, Ella went to sleep. Oh, my meeting. Oh, my good idea. They're snoring. Oh.
Did you see her outfit today? I can't believe it. Her sermon was terrible.
Hi, girls.
Hi.
It's good to see you getting some water.
I love your clothes.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Your sermon was awesome.
Awesome?
Uh-huh.
Wow, you are so kind. Hey, have a great day, okay?
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Remember, Jesus always comes first. It's always only Jesus.
Woohoo!
Wait, guys, what's
Who's ready to praise Jesus? Let's rock! Here we go. Rockin', rockin', rockin'. We rockin'?
Yeah!
Rockin'. I like this song. Rockin'?
Yeah.
I'm rockin' out. I'm rockin' out. Thanks, B2.
Rocking out.
Cool.
Whoa! Come on, you...
Stop! Remember, it's always only Jesus.
Come on, ref, that was a horrible call. Get some glasses, please.
Remember, Caleb, always only Jesus.
Thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome. I can't believe it. I sold them cheap. Literally, they were moving as they were doing it. I could have sold my team winning in the future, and somehow they won because they were cheating. Remember, always only Jesus.
This is from the book of John, chapter 13, verse 35, New Living Translation. Your love for one another will prove to me that you are my disciples.
Okay. Good morning, church. My name is Madison Coburn, and I'm a sophomore at Cumberland Valley High School. High school is a time of your life where your emotions are completely heightened. Everything seems like it's the end of the world. Believe me, I would know. In high school, everything is a competition. Grades are no exception. They bring out the worst in me and everyone else. As soon as report cards are released each marking period, the only thing I hear about is conversation about the rank or overall grade. After every really big test, grades are compared and complained about. I do the same, but only if I get a good grade. I feel a twisted sense of satisfaction if I realize that I got a better grade than a friend. But there is also the other side of the spectrum, where bad grades can tear down self-esteem greatly. Because I tend to focus on my grades, everything else seems like it fades away and doesn't matter as much. Today's theme, Always Only Jesus, is a challenge for me. I hyperfixate on comparing myself against my friends, and if I don't meet these expectations, then I'm disappointed in myself. But if I succeed, I mentally push myself above others. Jesus does not want these emotions to be present. He loves all of his children equally, and he would be disappointed to know that such a meaningless thing brought me down. I also need to incorporate one of Jesus' most famous verses from Mark 12:31. Love your neighbor as yourself. I think about this verse whenever I feel jealous of my friends for their grades. For example, I have this friend who I compete with for everything. Our friendship involves a lot of teasing and joking around, so the competitiveness is mostly exaggerated. We both had a speech, but my goal was to finally get a better grade than him. My friend and I are in different classes, so I eagerly waited for lunch to exchange grades, and I did it. I ran around the cafeteria cheering, kind of. But then I learned that the reason he had points taken off from his speech was because he had too much information. He went over the time by 2 minutes. I needed to take a step back, evaluate myself, and realize how I was treating both him and myself just because of one measly grade. Grades don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but the one thing that does matter is Jesus. Always only Jesus. Kids and teenagers aren't the only ones that need to focus on Jesus. Adults do too. Maybe you're 5 minutes late to work, or you have to work over the weekend, but everyone needs to realize that the first priority should always be Jesus. Thank you.
John 13:35, New International Version. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jackie Capers. I'm in 8th grade. And we're talking about always only Jesus. So what exactly does that mean? So we watched a video in youth group, and what I got from it is it means doing what Jesus would want you to do, or what he would want you to, or what he would do, and just kind of keeping him first and foremost in your mind. And sometimes this is not easy to remember, especially when you're playing sports or watching sports, whether it's family members or not. But if you don't know, I play softball, which is a very competitive sport, and I'm a pitcher, which adds to my competitive fire. And sometimes in the heat of the moment, you can get carried away, and it's hard to remember always only Jesus, especially when you give up a walk, make an error, or especially when an umpire makes a bad call. Sometimes you get carried away by what people would expect you to do, like getting angry or upset. And I think the biggest example for me is when I get pulled out of a game, how I react, and sometimes how my parents react, especially because they're my biggest supporters, and I wouldn't be anywhere without them. And I know it must be difficult to watch me when I struggle. So how I remember always only Jesus, my life verse. In confirmation, we had to choose a verse that we wanted to live by. I had a hard time choosing between 1 Corinthians 13:4, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, and Luke 1:37, for with God nothing shall be impossible. And while they may not say always only Jesus, they definitely remind me of it and, make me think back to the times in youth when we talk about it. Another way is role models. In the sport of softball, there are plenty of amazing women who strive for excellence on the field, but also were amazing at sharing their faith off the field. Some examples were like Aubrey Monroe, Jeannie Reed, Leah Miko, but especially Jenny Finch. I share a number with her, 27, and whenever I'm in a game and I look down at my jersey and see that number, I remember how she shared her faith and that I should do that too on the field. And another thing that most people do for fun on the softball field is eye black, and instead of doing the two basic lines across my face, I do little crosses that help remind me always only Jesus, and that I'm playing because he gave me the gift to play and the opportunity, and that I should keep him in my heart and mind at all times. Thank you.
John 13:35 from the Message. Love one another in the same way I loved you. You love one another. This is how everyone will recognize that you are my disciples, when they see the love you have for one another.
Good morning, church. My name is Lauren Noss, and I'm a senior at Cumberland Valley High School. I've grown up here at Aldersgate Church, baptized and confirmed in the faith. When Wendy and Jamie came to see me if I would consider providing a testimony this morning on always only Jesus, I did say yes, although I didn't know 100% for sure what I was going to feel moved to talk about this morning. Being a part of today's youth, you have a lot of opportunities to respond Christ's way. The hard part is doing just that. So here I go. Forgiveness. A notion we often take for granted in today's world. All too many times have I misunderstood what that really meant until this past year. Let me give you the basic backstory. My freshman year was so exciting. I had established a solid group of friends. We had nothing but fun experiences as freshmen in high school. We became super close, and that was so important. My sophomore year was challenging, and I was trying to find out who I was going to be. My schedule completely changed, and to make things worse, I was with none of my freshman friends in any classes or lunch. And so I had to start over. I was forced to meet new people and made it work. And although missed my old friends, made it through sophomore year. Then it really hit me. Junior year, the toughest year academically with classes, I had athletic performance pressures, and trying to consider college plans all wrapped into one. However, the one silver lining was that I had been reunited with my freshman friends. That's perfect, right? Well, not really. It was like they had moved on without me, and this time, the whole group had gotten bigger, and somehow, there was established ringleaders. A ton of new people had joined since sophomore year, and I started fitting in a little too well for people in charge. But naturally, I thought nothing of it. I thought we all just needed some time to all adjust to being in each other's lives again. And all I wanted to do from then on was make sure they could see how much I valued their acceptance, their friendship. Slowly, however, it took a turn for the worst. They started excluding me from group events as if it were an accident. Started picking fights and trying to twist my words in any way possible. They started calling me out on social media for no good reason and flat out judging me for trying to be nice to those they didn't like. At first, I thought I had done something wrong. I thought that what they said was true, that I was somehow not good enough of a person, that I needed to change because no matter how nice I was, it was never enough. I was still hopeful, though. So much so I just sat there and took it all in for half a year, and I struggled to come to the conclusion they were doing this intentionally, with the purpose of getting me to leave the group, leave behind all those new connections that were going so well. I found out that they were trashing my reputation behind my back, putting labels on me I never would have imagined, and I really just wanted it to stop. I was hurt. I decided to try and keep my distance from these girls. My only goal at this point was to keep it kind and grow connections with those that were seeking a relationship with me. I just wanted to make it through junior year. Something about that still didn't feel right, though. It still didn't address the ongoing problem. I was at the point where I didn't think I could bring myself to forgive for something like this, or be friends with them ever again. Until one night, during the last week of school, I had received this text message from one of the girls. Okay, so I should have said this yesterday. I honestly don't know why I didn't. Anyways, I know over the last couple of years we've had a few disagreements that ended up being big things that should have just never happened. They were real dumb, and I know I was probably quite annoying in a few of them. I also know I mess with you quite a bit. I haven't as much recently because I know it's probably really annoying. But my point is that these things probably made it seem like I don't care about you very much, or anything like that. But I just want to let you know that I do care about you as a person, and as a friend. I'm sorry if anything I've ever said or done made you believe otherwise. This was quite a surprise to me, being that it was from the main individual I had believed had targeted me all year without explanation or reason. I struggled to accept it at first. I didn't even know if I wanted it, or even to consider accepting it, because I'd been hurt so badly for so long. I mean, this had built up over an entire school year. I didn't know what to do. In one way, I felt so vindicated. I was so glad to finally have her accept responsibility for what she had done to me. Yet still I was conflicted, because I was still doubtful of its sincerity and started analyzing every possible intention behind it. So I took some time to think about how I wanted to respond and prayed on it, but ultimately I knew the right thing to do, because I had grown up in the church after all. This is the true moment I had to ask myself, what would Jesus do? Now the Bible tells us in Colossians 3:13, bear with one another and forgive one another. If anyone has a quarrel against you, as Christ forgave you, you must also do so. Amidst my bitterness that I knew I had been clinging to, I knew the right thing to do quite clearly after that. So here's what I typed back. Thanks. I appreciate you reaching out to me to address some of our past issues. Some of those issues did hurt because friends don't do those things. But I want you to know that I forgive you. Within 5 minutes of sending that, then this is what I got back from her. Thank you for forgiving me, even though I may not completely deserve it. I'm going to do my best to be a better friend. I'm sorry for being a crappy friend before. So you may be wondering what's happened since all of this. Well, by choosing forgiveness, our friendship restarted with a clean slate, and now she is one of my closest friends. By choosing forgiveness, the bitterness is gone. By choosing forgiveness, I'm choosing Christ's way. If I hadn't turned to my faith and responded as Christ would have demonstrated, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Always, only Jesus. Thank you.
Your love for others will prove to the world that you are my followers.
All right, so today we showed you how some of us incorporated and remember Always Only Jesus into our everyday lives. Sometimes you need to think about it because something may have been done to you, but other times you have done something to someone else and you need to remember Always Only Jesus. Today, we challenge you to think about Always Only Jesus, whether you're at school, at a store, at a sports event, or even just at home. When you exit today, we will give you a window cling that you can stick on a mirror or in your car to remind you about Always Only Jesus.